aggressive. I don't know if they have share control or not, but they're massed in exactly the same place here. Now, what they could have done was sent the roaches in, burrowed up to here, you know, send 5 more roaches in, burrowed up to Shadowsbane's probes, and then send the Marine Marauder, Zergling, and a few more roaches right at the front. They could possibly do some serious economic damage there, but not very good strategy coming from the two teams here, Futtbuck and Rawr. Pretty big push coming in here again. Like Shadowsbane is really keeping a sizable force, but just the way the choke is here is not very friendly to them. Shadowsbane ran all the way around. KillerB taking the high ground, which really gave him a bit of a advantage there, and Futtbuck decides to turn around, go back. The roaches popping up. They want to finish off this cannon, and they burrow with 6 health left on that cannon. That probably they could have taken just that extra second to finish it off, but you know, no big deal. Now we got still a 4-gate Robo, some Colossus coming out for Shadowsbane, which is going to really help against the Marine Marauder force. It's going to outrange these guys, so it's not going to get caught up in this area here. Look at this. He has to run around, and really KillerB could do with letting those Zealots get in first instead of just sending his Stalkers. They were taking up the whole choke there. And the roaches coming up here. Trying to surprise. They know there's no pylon here. They should just pop up, take it out, and burrow again. Really not well done there. Gave a chance for all the Stalkers to get out and defend it. They're really poking away from either side here. Shadowsbane has another observer out to help with the burrowed roaches. He's just searching around for him. Whole army going down here, and Futtbuck should, you know, he should be pushing forward. Oh, he's got siege tanks here, so now he's feeling like he doesn't have to push forward. He can do a tank crawl. Looks like it's going to be trouble for KillerB and Shadowsbane in that they're going to have to be aggressive and come out and probably make an attack on this little base before any more siege tanks. Yeah, and KillerB recognizes that. Damn, we need out, he says. And that's true. Like, there's going to be a tank crawl. There's another tank coming up here to reinforce. There is going to be no better time than the present to get out there, because as these tanks get reinforced, it's going to be trouble. Nice Colossus here from Shadowsbane, used to the high ground. He can walk up and over and really poke in there. Some Hydras finally coming out for Rawr, and look at this. Check out the income tab and see. We got Futtbuck really low. He's got 25 harvesters, 26 for Rawr, 36, 37, and 30. Okay, 37 and 34 for Shadowsbane and KillerB. They really should have been pumping out more probes as well, but it's been a very micro-intensive game, so it's easy to fall behind on your probe production, which is why, like, if you take a look at both of these guys, I'm going to be willing to bet neither of them has their Nexus hotkeyed, and that's what you got to do in a micro-intensive game, is you hotkey your Nexus usually to 4, and then when your Protoss, it's just 4E, 4E, 4E every once in a while. You get used to it. Now these guys are pretty good, so they're I'm sure aware of the strategy of it, but it's really just hard to stay on top of because you're not thinking about it. You need these Colossus coming in. Finally they come up, and they are going to make mincemeat of the Marines pretty fast. Really good positioning. You know, you got your Colossus surrounded by a bunch of Stalkers, and the DTs are in. Scan goes off, and they don't manage to escape. The Marauders pick off the DTs, but the damage is really being done. These Stalkers, these Colossi survived. Shadowsbane says push. And yeah, there's some units back here. KillerB could really be sending up there. Also, Shadowsbane has a Colossus. Okay, yeah, he's got that coming. Let's take a look at this. This is a massive Hydras. The Futtbuck is flying his base away from these minerals. Kind of a good move. It was an orbital command, so it's not going to help in the defense, and he knew there was going to be a push right there. He's got nothing to defend it. It's actually really clever to pull that back. Colossus against Hydras. That is going to not be very good. Just completely fries all the Hydras out of there. The Observer here doing its job. Nothing can burrow and stay out of sight from these guys. Down goes the expansion. There is no mining base here, and this is starting to look really one-sided. Check Expos. They're all gone. So it looks like Futtbuck is going to have to stay behind and try to make a stand here, but check out the minerals for him. Check out the minerals for Rawr. They are not doing good. We've got mining expos coming up for both KillerB and Shadowsbane, so they're in good position. You know, always push and expand, they could really use focusing these colossi on the high ground, and he does. Really nice control by Shadowsbane in this game. Like, he has played almost the perfect unit control game, I'd have to say, as far as he had to really help out his partner early on, and he did a little retreat there, and I mean, chose to sacrifice a little bit of KillerB and his production just to buy a little bit of extra time for his units to produce, and it paid off huge. Everybody leaves the game. No GG there. Apparently, Futtbuck is. I think he's quite a character. Yeah. the way he was talking, he's an interesting guy. But yeah, so I have to say, really well played by Shadowsbane, and poor KillerB had a little bit of trouble at the start there. It took a while. I mean, he took all the harassment. So, of course, anybody who plays this game knows that when you take all the harassment, you're just trying to stay in the game and keep producing. And he lost some probes in there and things like that. And look at the harvester count at the end. We have got KillerB with 41 harvesters, and Shadowsbane stopped at 33. And look at that, 23 and 22 for Rawr and Futtbuck. And neither one of them ever got their SCV line hit. So when you're stopping at 23 and 22 SCVs, you aren't going to win against somebody who is constantly producing them. So really good SCV production for KillerB. And I got to say that Shadowsbane really held up the army side of this. So well played, boys, and I will see you next time.